In the session this morning, Chris specifically mentioned the idea that funders might be doing portfolios of claims and therefore investing in the bad ones as well as the good ones in order to balance their books. Speaking from our perspective, we certainly don't engage in that kind of behaviour. We are a commercial enterprise. We look very carefully at the cases that we invest in, and we expect them to win. It's very difficult to always win, but we try our hardest, and so we're certainly not investing in what we consider to be bad cases. I think other myths that float around, a lot of the discussion this morning was about disclosure. Third-party funders, at least from our perspective, we're not concerned about the disclosure of our involvement. In fact, we think it can be quite helpful. And so particularly we would like to avoid conflicts of interest with the arbitrators. We also think it helps to rebalance the parties' perspective on what strategies they might be able to adopt in a case. So disclosure for us is quite an important tool and can be used effectively, and it's not something that we seek to hide from. One of the parties that challenges parties in this region in particular is knowledge of funding. They find themselves in a circumstance where they've had their project expropriated, they might be a special purpose vehicle, they don't have any funds, and they're not aware that this is an option for them to use. So that's a challenge. Once they are aware that we exist, we're very rigorous in the criteria that we apply to cases that we fund. Many of these cases rely a lot on expected profits. We take a relatively conservative view on that point. So that can be a challenge in terms of understanding the real value of a claim and whether there is sufficient value there for us to invest in a case. And another challenge, I think, can also be just arbitration's general. There still seems to be a bit of suspicion about third-party funding amongst the arbitration community. We spoke this morning about the RSM and St Lucia judgment. There's obviously some very colourful language that's been used in relation to third-party funding, but we don't want there to be whether we are involved or not, it shouldn't make any difference in terms of the tribunal's assessment of the claimant's claims.